And welcome to the Cedar Falls Regular City Council meeting this February 6, 2017. I'll now call this meeting to order and ask for a roll call from Madam Clerk, please.
Miller?
Here.
DeBoer? Here. Runcie?
Here.
Blanford?
Here.
Dara?
Here.
Wheeland?
Here.
Tiber?
Here.
All members present, Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Just a quick note, Councilmember Wheeland is participating by phone this evening. Item C, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting January 16th?
So move. Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. It's my pleasure right now to briefly introduce the new president of the University of Northern Iowa, Dr. Mark Nook, who asked to say a few words of introduction to the public, staff, and council people, which I'm happy to oblige. Welcome, Dr. Nook.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Brown, and members of the City Council. It's a great honor to be here. It's a great pleasure to be back in the state of Iowa, and especially here in the Cedar Valley. I really want to thank the members of this community. It's been a tremendous welcome that the people of Cedar Falls have rolled out for my wife, Cheryl, and I. It's tremendous to be back in the state. One of the reasons that I wanted to be here is I'm very committed to the partnership that we have with this community, in particular, being a resident of Cedar Falls. I mean that personally as an individual, but also as the leader of the University of Northern Iowa. We too, as an entity, are a resident of this city. I'm very committed and have been working for many years in economic development and community development and the relationships between universities and the communities in which they live. I really want to see that continue here and to strengthen that relationship between the institution and our city. When I talk about and think about economic development, one of the things that I always think of goes beyond just building stronger businesses, building jobs, which are very, very important to the long-term health of the community. But I'm also very interested in what I think of as quality of life issues. How do we build the culture? How do we build the social structure so that people want to live in this place? Our river is great. The valleys are great. The walking trails are great. But it's the people and it's the things that we offer people away from work that will really attract more. And those are things that I want to work on, as well as making sure we have the right programs so that students leave here and can find jobs in this community and throughout the state of Iowa. I want to take just 1 minute to talk about an item that I have heard I know is on the agenda a little bit later. I've had a chance to talk to a few people about, and that's the UNI student liaison. We have several of our students here too that I know will probably talk a little bit later. I'm really excited about this opportunity because I think what you're doing and considering is really a great step forward and could be an advantage for our community. This possibility of a UNI student liaison, first of all, recognizes, it's really great recognition of the importance of UNI students to this community, the economic health of this community. It says, you are important to us. Thank you for being a part of our community. It also looks like a fantastic way to continue to strengthen the relationship between the university, the people of the university, and this city. And finally, it just provides a tremendous, tremendous learning opportunity for that student and other students, how city government works and the importance of our relationship. So thank you for at least considering it. I don't know where the discussion will go. I'm certainly a great supporter of it and work with students to make sure that we have liaisons that are well-trained and ready to participate and be a real value to this council, but to our entire city. Again, thank you for the opportunity, Mayor and Council, to say hi. I look forward to a very long partnership between the university, this city council, but the city in general. So thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Nook.
Thank you.
Moving on to item D, are there any agenda revisions, Madam Clerk?
I have no agenda revisions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. The next item, before we move to the next item, I'm going to turn things over now to Director Olson for a special presentation we do from time to time around here. So if you're mic'd up there, Director Olson, I'll have you take over from here.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight we have the pleasure of swearing in a new police officer, Officer Jeff Schultz. Jeff was raised in the Columbus, Wisconsin area. He graduated from Columbus, Wisconsin High School in 2009. He served in the United States Marine Corps from Reserve from 2010 to 2014. He attended Herzing University in Madison, Wisconsin, graduated in 2015 with a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice. He graduated from the Wisconsin Police Academy at Kenosha Technical College in 2016. He recently moved to Waterloo, where some of his family resides. So, Jeff, if you want to step up, the mayor will swear you in.
Thank you. We'll do a few things here. We'll do an oath of office, and I think Mom gets the duty of safely pinning his new badge on. We'll see how that goes. And then finally to have Mr. Schultz sign his oath of office. So if you could raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I, Jeff Schultz,
I, Jeff Schultz,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and comply
that I will support and comply
with the Constitution of the United States of America,
with the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Iowa,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Iowa,
the charter laws and ordinances of the city of Cedar Falls, the charter laws and ordinances of the city of Cedar
the
Falls,
charter, laws, and ordinance of the city of Cedar Falls,
the rules and regulations
the rules and regulations
of the Cedar Falls Police Department,
of the Cedar Falls Police Department,
the law enforcement code of ethics,
the law enforcement code of ethics,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of my position as police officer to the best of my ability.
of the position of police officer to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Let's get Mom in here first. There you go, Mom. That's got to be a record. Thank you so much. Sign here. Thank you for coming tonight. That'll be all. No, I'm just kidding you. Moving on to item F as a special order of business. F1 is a public hearing on the proposed plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the 2017 sanitary sewer rehabilitation project. Is there a motion to receive and file proof of publication?
Move to receive and file proof.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Any written objections filed with the city clerk?
I have no written objections on file, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I think we'll have city staff Mike Nyman come and give us an explanation for this hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. This is part of an annual project to repair and rehabilitate sanitary sewer lines that have problems that need to be addressed. Those problems could be roots or infiltration or physical issues such as cracks or holes that would lead to failure. Essentially, the project involves installing a new pipe inside of the existing pipe, which leads to a long life expectancy of several decades. This is a very cost-effective way to repair and protect the city infrastructure. It's much cheaper than excavation and full repair of sewer lines. This year we'll be lining approximately 7,000 feet or 20 blocks of sanitary sewer.
Very good. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Any oral comments? Hearing and seeing none, I'll declare this hearing closed. Item F2 is a resolution approving and adopting the plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the sanitary sewer project. Is there a motion, please?
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved and second. Any further discussion by council? Requires a roll call vote, please.
Aye.
I'm voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item G is old business. G1 is pass ordinance 2894, recreating the downtown self-supported municipal improvement district upon its second consideration. Is there a motion, please?
Move we pass ordinance 2894.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion by council or by the public? Hearing and seeing none requires a roll call vote, please.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Item H is new business. H1 is a consent calendar. The following items will be acted upon by a voice vote on a single motion without separate discussion, unless someone from the council or public wishes to pull something separately for discussion. Is there any such request from council?
I'd like to pull B for just a quick question and D for a question.
B as in boy, D as in...
B as in boy, D as in Dave.
Items B and D. Anything further from the public? I'll now summarize the items in the consent calendar, less B and D. Item A is receive and file the committee of the whole minutes of January 16th relative to One-Side Refuge collection update, the UNI student body liaison, and bills and payroll. Item C is receive and file departmental monthly reports of December 2016. And E is to approve permits and licenses. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar, please?
Move we approve the consent calendar,
Less B and D.
less B and D.
Second.
Thank you. It's been motioned second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Moving back to item B, it reads, approve and adopt action taken by the Committee of the Whole of January 16 relative to the UNI student body liaison. Is there a motion, please?
So move.
Second.
Motion second. Open for discussion.
And my question on that was just to clarify exactly what your motion is. I believe the motion was to approve working on a resolution, and if that's the case, that's fine. But nowhere on the agenda is it actually to approve the resolution that was written. So are you asking just to approve the original motion by Frank, or is it something more than that?
I'll have to defer to legal counsel, Mr. Rogers. Do you know as far as that was written?
The item up for consideration by the council at this time is the resolution itself. It's part of the packet, and I believe sufficient notice is on the agenda for considering the resolution itself.
So it's to consider the resolution, not the committee motion to have you draft one.
That's my understanding. The resolution is up for consideration before the council.
I think, Councilman, there's an item later under the resolution calendar. I think that's the actual resolution. I think this item is just
That was
the
what I-
committee report.
Okay.
Because item D, I think, is the actual resolution that we're debating. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, that's what I was trying to clarify.
Any further questions? This is on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item D reads, receive and file the bids received for the University Avenue Reconstruction Project, Phase 2, McLean Drive to Midway Drive. Is there a motion, please?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion second. Open for discussion.
And the reason I had pulled that was, I was just curious, about half the cost was something called, the very first line was mobilization. And I wondered if you could explain just what is mobilization, since that's about half of the price difference.
I'll refer to Stephanie on that. I believe this is approving to go to committee in 2 weeks over budgetary items and the state of the project.
Well, I would let Randy Lorenz, our city engineer, answer that. He can get up, but it generally costs, it includes getting the equipment to the site. It can include any of those kind of miscellaneous expenses to help get the project up and going is typically what it includes. Did I miss anything there?
And then the other half of that, this project is actually, Phase 2 is A and B. And is this the cost for both A and B, or is it just for the first half of that phase?
The mobilization's for the whole Phase 2 project.
So they can't go back later and add more to say, we
can't.
didn't realize it was cut in two?
Stephanie's summary was very, very good. It's the front-end cost of starting up a project of that size. That's what's intended for.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that they weren't going to come back later and say that, well, we were only bidding for the first half of Phase 2 and not the whole part of it.
That would be the MOB for the whole project.
Thank you for that. Any further comments by council? This is already on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 2 is resolution calendar. The following items will be acted upon by a roll call vote on a single motion without separate discussion, unless someone from the council or the public wishes to have something pulled separately. Is there any such request from council? Mr. Blanford?
Mr. Mayor, I need to pull item E for abstention, please.
Mr. Mayor, I'll pull
From
item
council?
D.
D is in David.
D is in David.
David.
I think Mr. Whelan wanted the same, correct? Any further from council? Any further from the public? Yes, sir.
2O.
Anything further from the public? Very good. I will read through the summary of the resolution calendar minus D, E, and O. Items A and B are resolutions establishing pay for new hires. Item C is a resolution approving and authorizing execution of the renewal of an advertising agreement relative to recruitment advertising. F is resolution levying a final assessment for costs incurred by the city to mow and clean up property located on Catherine Street. G is a resolution endorsing the Cedar Falls 2025 strategic plan. H is resolution naming the new bike park located in the vicinity of Logan and 4th Avenues as Tondro Prairie Bike Park, as recommended by the Parks and Recreation Commission. I is approving and authorizing placement of permanent directional signs in the city right-of-way along Green Hill in the vicinity of Oster Parkway intersection. J is approving and adopting revised bylaws for the Historic Preservation Commission. K is resolution approving and authorizing submission of a certified local government National Register nomination of the property located at 501 West 1st Street, as recommended by the Historic Preservation Commission. L is approving the final plat of Pinnacle Ridge First Edition. M is resolution approving and authorizing execution of a maintenance and repair agreement and permanent easement relative to a post-construction stormwater management plan for Pinnacle Ridge First Edition. N is resolution approving and authorizing execution of a contract for completion of improvements relative to the final plat of Pinnacle Ridge First Edition. P is resolution approving and authorizing execution of supplemental agreement number 5 relative to the downtown levee improvements project. Q is approving and authorizing execution of a professional service agreement relative to the Cedar River South Sub-Watershed Assessment Project. And R is a resolution setting February 20th as a date of public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 18 budget for the city of Cedar Falls. Is there a resolution to approve the resolution calendar minus D, E, and O?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. This requires a roll call vote, please.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Moving back up to item D is a resolution approving a temporary appointment of the University of Northern Iowa Student Liaison to the City Council of the City of Cedar Falls. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. This is open for discussion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I've read over the work that's been done, and am I coming through?
You should be fine.
Okay. I read over the work that's been done in putting together this proposal, and I think it's an outstanding piece of work. It's based on both Iowa and Iowa State student representatives to their government. And I'm going to support it tonight because it's a trial balloon to see how it's going. The seating arrangement kind of troubles me, and maybe somebody can explain to me. We patterned this process after Iowa and Iowa State, and yet both Iowa and Iowa State have the students sitting on the dais for the committee meeting, but not for the council meetings. That makes sense to me because the committee meetings are where we get the discussion going and heated arguments on both sides of issues. Council meetings are much less appropriate, but anybody explain why you reversed the order compared to what Iowa and Iowa State did?
Sure. I can certainly speak to that, Councilman. Really, the modeling from Iowa State and University of Iowa for myself was more in reference to now our city attorney, Kevin Rogers, has sort of two legal documents from which to work, not to start over. And I think even the good conversation we had a few weeks ago indicated I think this was a unique opportunity to have the student body representative from NISG sit at the dais and really increase the chances of sustainability, unlike our prior opportunities that we've had in the city where we've had that come about, and to elevate that just a little bit to ensure, and also very excited with the support from Dr. Nook. There's also been conversations in relation to a potential intern in, is that what it's called? Internship, yes, to hopefully also maintain that sustainability, because as I understand it, there's hours associated with that. But part of that, and ultimately, I presented this to council because there's an empty spot next to Director Olson. I don't think it would be, I wouldn't be changing the floor plan of where we sit if it wasn't there. Does that help answer your question? I hope you were able to hear me, sir.
Yes, I heard you very well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate your comments.
Yes, Susan.
Well, I had actually pulled this for pretty much the same reason. I didn't vote on it. When we discussed this at committee, I didn't vote because I didn't feel I had enough information. There was a lot of discussion. I think Dave Whelan had brought up this issue, and I wanted to find out a little bit more about Iowa City and Ames as to how they were doing things. And I was really surprised after being told we were modeling it after Iowa City to find out that Iowa City, they have the student with us at work sessions, but at formal meetings, they do not. And I guess I would have liked to have gotten more information as to why they don't, instead of just reinventing the wheel and doing it different. There are advantages. I had offered a compromise, which was to have them sit with our staff table here. We generally have lots of room there, and we have another table that goes on this side. For one, it gives opportunity to see the speaker, which I really like to be able to listen to the speakers when they talk and to be able to see them. And when they're down there, it's just a lot harder for us to be able to do that. And I think it would have been very beneficial. On the resolution, on Section 4, they automatically talk about seating, and I would have liked to have friendly amendment maybe to consider, let's start with the table, work at the work sessions with us, but then let's start with the table. If that doesn't work or we need to move them up here, we certainly could. But that way we're actually modeling it after the city like we're being told that we are doing.
Thank you for
I
that.
think we're all in agreement. We welcome the student to our group. It's just a question of where they're going to be sat.
Yes, and as again, this resolution is approving a temporary appointment as described in your packets. Did I hear a formal amendment you'd like to propose, Ms. DeBoer, or just a comment in general?
Well, I would like to us, as I guess a friendly amendment under Section 4 is just alter the wording on where they have to be seated so that we can try other things in case we do have other organizations like we talked about that complain that they're not being heard, then we also would have room at our table for them as well.
I will take that upon myself that is amendment to item D for approving a temporary appointment. Is there a second to that amendment? It is seconded. All in favor of that amendment,
Can
say
we
aye.
discuss first?
Aye.
Yes, no, I beg your pardon. It is open for discussion. Yeah, thank you, Nick.
I mentioned this in the last meeting, but I think that the University of Northern Iowa and the student body deserves a seat at this table. The DS, which is, I think, is that Greek? You had to look it up. Really, I think that that's the position where they should sit. I don't think we've had a strong enough voice from you and I at our DS for the time that I've served here. And yes, I've witnessed it fail already. And I think as soon as you're sitting at the audience level, you're not part of a integral working group. I don't see the need for the separation. I would gladly, especially through this interim period, invite them to this table to share their voice and their perspective, which I think has been not adequately represented for the last decade.
Well, and to dovetail on that, and I understand 100% where this amendment comes from. Sit them down here and then see what options are available up through April or whatever that date might be. I just took a little different approach. I prefer having them at the dais for this interim period and see how that works before potentially having this discussion in April to maybe say, you know, it didn't quite work the way we wanted it to. We'll have a separate table. So I'm just reversing the order, again, mainly because there's an open spot. And I'm going to go to Mr. Blanford, add something first.
I just want to second what Councilman Tabor said. I think this position is important enough, and I want to thank the Mayor's Office and ISG and everyone else who's worked on this. I think this is a really important position. I'd like to see it successful, and I think incorporating it into council more fully will help achieve that. I think there's no downside, I think, to trying it out, to what's been suggested, to make sure it works, to make sure it fits and is feasible within our council structure. So I would encourage everyone to support that.
Mr. Burge, you have a further comment?
I was just curious if we've done any research or know if there's any legal reason why University of Iowa chose to not do it this way.
Not that I was told. Mr. Rogers?
The seating arrangement's a matter of the preference of the city council. They decided to pass it in that fashion. And I believe that one resolution was modeled after the other, as a matter of fact, because they're nearly identical, the ones in Ames and Iowa City.
Right, I had an opportunity to read those with you, and they both specifically said that they did not sit up here.
That's correct.
And
Mr. Mayor?
Any further discussion?
Yeah.
Yes, Nick?
I give you full reign. Take this huge risk, okay? And let them sit at the table. Because guess what? I want to lead here. I don't want to follow the University of Iowa or Iowa State University. I want us to create a unique environment here and be the model for the state, not follow it.
Thank you. Frank?
I would just like a couple things. To thank you, Mayor, for making this happen. It's something that I've hoped would have happened a lot sooner, but we're there, and I'm also very pleased to hear that I believe the whole council is supportive of involving the students at some level. And I would just look, I would look at the next 3 months as let's work out the tweaks, let's work out what's not working. So it does continue. To me, it's 6 of one and half a dozen other. For the next 3 months, they're up here or they're down there, as long as we're moving in that direction. So, but up here is the best place to start, I think.
Very good. Yes.
I just want to say, a great deal of my money goes to UNI. So I really feel that I have a stake in this thing. And I hope it's not a deal breaker that you have to sit up here. I really want somebody involved from UNI. I think that's great. And I really applaud that. But where we sit is a major deal. I don't understand that. That's I don't know what I gotta say.
Thank you. There is an amendment already on the table. It's been motioned and seconded. For that motion, all in favor, say aye.
Mr. Mayor, just repeating the amendment. The amendment is to adjust the mayor recommendation to put the seat down here. So voting no would be to reconsider the original amendment, which is as written. Yeah, or reconsider the original motion, and it'd be as written.
Okay.
Correct?
You got that? Because I'm going to
Yes.
follow you.
Okay.
Still new. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Can I get a count there? The nays were how many?
4 to 3.
4. That amendment does fail. Moving back to the original resolution is still on the table. Any further discussion? This requires a roll call vote, please.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item E reads, resolution naming official depositories for the city of Cedar Falls. Is there a motion, please?
So move.
Second.
Motion second. Open for no discussion. We'll move to a roll call vote there, please.
Aye.
Six voting aye, one abstention, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on to item O, it reads, resolution approving and accepting the low bid of Peterson Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $10,331,393.20 for the University Avenue Reconstruction Project Phase 2, McLean Drive to Midway Drive. Is there a motion, please?
Move resolution O.
Second.
Motion second. Any comments by council? By the public?
Good evening, Mayor, Councilman, lady. Larry Wyckoff, 4241 East Park Road, advocate for the people of Cedar Falls, and also a 1974 graduate of my absolute alma mater, UNI. So appreciate the learning that I did there. Okay. Have roundabouts made our city safer and more reliable, as prescribed in 4C that we went through on the 23rd of February 2015? I don't think so. Right now, we're over budget. The paper that Pat is associated with brought out that we're at $42 million. It originally was supposed to be $32.5 million. There was supposed to be some financing from the Tiger Fund. That didn't happen. That's going to be on the Cedar Falls taxpayers. And I'm just wondering, for this $10 million, what contingencies do we have for cost overruns when things get out of control? Was there a cheaper route that could have been done to bring this to fruition? I'm not sure. But the big thing is Section 1 went over budget. Section 2, if history is anything like what's happened, it'll probably repeat itself. And I think the citizens of Cedar Falls deserve to know what happens when we go over the $10 million right here tonight. Is PCI going to be held to the $10 million, or what is going to happen? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wyckoff. Any comments from council from the previous speaker? Anything from staff? Oh, go ahead.
I guess my question is, the project will be let tonight, right? Or it's actually approving the competitive bid. If the contractor goes over bid, I mean, we're only obligated to spend the contractor's bid unless contingencies are made that are both mutually agreeable through change order or whatnot, right? If they can't perform the work, then they're bonded and insured. Is that correct?
Yes.
So the risk of going over budget would be, I'm trying to identify, I mean, once it's let, right?
Yes,
Okay, I'm comfortable with that.
I do want to circle back. Jennifer, you'd mentioned at their committee meeting just maybe an hour ago with the funding sources we have for our budgeting. Can you explain briefly, I guess in essence, from these moving numbers, where the city stands in terms of the taxpayers and where these monies are coming from?
Sure. In the most recent CIP, the $42 million that Larry referred to, we do break out what the various funding sources are in that. And so one of the things that I think probably you're referring to is the local option sales tax piece.
Right.
That originally we had talked about using local option sales tax for the project. Then we didn't know that we needed it. And then as there were additional costs, it was local option sales tax that came back in to pay for those additional costs.
Okay. Yep, thank you. Any further comments, council?
Can I just,
Please.
I don't want to get anything started here, but I guess the other misnomer that continues, as far as I'm concerned, is yes, it's costing more than we thought. Is that because of roundabouts, or are there other reasons that this is increasing? That's what I want to separate here. Is it's got nothing to do with my understanding. The additional cost is stuff that we weren't aware was going to be happening, but it has nothing to do with the roundabouts. That's my opinion. I'd like to know if I'm totally wrong.
Can you clarify
on
that at all, Stephanie?
Well, when we put together a design, certainly there are impacts to property, no matter what design you use. So sometimes at some of the intersections, we do need to have a little bit larger footprint. But another type of intersection, you could need your left turn lanes and your right turn lanes. So the costs of the project have been that when the conceptual number came out, that was prior to having any detailed design work done. And so now as we go out to bid on certain phases of the project, we have the final engineering design done and a much better idea of the quantities involved, of amount of concrete, knowing what we need for right-of-way and what those impacts are. And there's just a lot more known at that point when we go to bid versus the conceptual number that we had a year and a half ago. So then there's always an estimate put to that cost before going out to bid. And both of the bids that we have had were within the engineer's estimate of probable cost.
Very good.
Thank you.
There's no more, I beg your pardon. Item O, it has been motioned second, it's on the table. This requires a roll call vote, please.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. The next item is item 3, pass an ordinance adopting the 2017 Code of Ordinances for the City of Cedar Falls upon its first consideration. Is there a motion, please?
So move, Mr. Mayor.
Any further discussion by council? Requires a roll call vote, please.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. The next item is pass an ordinance amending Chapter 12, Garbage and Refuse, relative to one-sided refuse and yard waste collection upon its first consideration. Is there a motion, please?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion by council? Roll call vote, please.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Next item is 5, pass an ordinance amending Chapter 26, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, relative to establishing calendar parking on certain portions of Ellen Street upon its first consideration. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Motion second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
do I have the opportunity to make a motion to amend on this at this point? On the first consideration, I do. Is that?
I believe you do, sure.
I'd like to once again ask for that amendment be made to not include Saturday as part of the calendar parking on this. And reasoning being, the petition came to us to not include Saturday. This is directly affecting all of the neighbors along Ellen Street. And I guess when we look across the city, I think a point was made that we're trying to stay consistent, and I can see that, but we've got specific parking for the farmer's market. Don't park down here on Saturday morning. We've got specific parking on the hill. This is what the residents along this street want, so I would like to see it exclude Saturday. If I can get a second and a vote.
There is a motion. Is there a second for the
Second.
amendment? A
Second.
motion by Mr. Blanford. Any further discussion by council?
If I'm, just to ask, out of curiosity, what's the opposition to Saturday?
They're directly by the high school, and they're affected by the parking issue Monday through Friday.
Understood,
So
but-
Saturday and Sunday, it's not an issue for them, so.
But we still remove snow on Saturdays and Sundays, and would it not behoove us to maintain consistency in that?
There may be some benefit there.
I think one of the residents made a statement during the committee meeting that on Saturdays they're more concerned about it impacting family events and regular usage versus overflow traffic from the school.
Very good. That amendment has been on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That amendment does carry. Any further discussion? Now circle back to the original amendment that is on the table. Been motion and second. That is still open for discussion. So next is the pass an ordinance amending Chapter 26 with the amendment to not include Saturdays. That requires a roll call vote, please.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item I is a motion, hopefully, to allow bills and payroll.
Move we pay the bills and payroll.
Second.
It requires a roll call vote, please.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item J is City Council referrals. Does council have any items to refer this evening? Hearing, seeing none, we'll move to item K, which City Council updates. Any council updates this evening? Hearing, seeing none, moving to item L. Item L is to move to executive session to discuss legal matters per Iowa Code, Section 21.51C, to discuss strategy with counsel in matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent, where its disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the position of a governmental body in that litigation. It is being requested to have this take place following public forum. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Requires a roll call vote, please.
Aye.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item M is public forum. Speakers will have one opportunity to speak for up to 5 minutes on topics germane to city business. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak tonight? Mr. Wyckoff. Yep. Yes. Come on up if you'd like. As always, please state your name and address.
Jill Fisher, 203 Cordova Avenue. I have some questions here, and they probably will be directed to Jennifer. There was an article in Sunday's Courier about property tax hikes here in the city of Cedar Falls due to what Jennifer Rodenbeck associated with projected lack of backfill money. The article also stated that the city property valuation here in Cedar Falls increased by $53 million, or about 2%, most of that attributed to residential property. Number one question is, are you calculating this projected tax income in the next 2 years to offset the projected lack of backfill money?
I think the easy answer,
Go ahead, Jennifer.
sorry, name. No.
Please go ahead.
The easy answer to your question is yes. All of those factors were included. In committee tonight, we did a presentation, went through the budget, talked about all the factors included in the budget, the increased valuation, the rollback factors, property tax rate. So yes, all of that is included in the budget.
Okay. So you're asking the residential taxpayers to carry the load on a possible projected lack of income. Is that correct?
Mayor, I should probably stop. I didn't know if you wanted her to go through all of her questions first.
Sure,
and
Jill,
then-
if you would,
Sorry.
we'll make a note of your questions,
Sorry.
and you can
Okay.
ask your questions, and we'll certainly
Okay.
get to answering them.
The state already has issued some burden on residential taxpayers here in the state of Iowa, single family as opposed to multiple family. So suppose we do get backfill money that we had anticipated we might not get, and the city saves that for a special project, as was indicated in the article. Then if a special project, for instance, is estimated at $32 million, and then the mayor and the council approves that project at $32 million, anticipated expenditures, but the project goes over that budget, as we have experienced with the roundabouts. Because the city has money, supposedly, to help finance some of these projects, and it's anticipated that there's 75% that's covered, it does not go to the public for a referendum. Is that correct? That's a question.
Okay.
So if the city would decide to build a new city hall, which we understand that's anticipated, and a fire station, will the citizens be able to vote on that project? So we're kind of continuing on here. And will then you be able to use backfill money or go back to the homeowners and ask for additional taxes, property taxes? So where is all this extra project money coming from? And when will the voters be able to vote on some of these projects? Ever? Or are you always going to say we have the 75% to be able to cover this, therefore we don't need the input from the public? That's a concern that I have, and I anticipate several citizens here in Cedar Falls might have that same concern. This year, we will be voting for some of you on the council. I encourage all the citizens of Cedar Falls to express their concerns at the voting booth. And I was also anticipate that there might be some questions to their council members that are running for re-election. You have been elected to represent us as the citizens of Cedar Falls, and the pattern of holding meetings to get our input, and then not allowing us to vote because there's a 75% of the cost of that project has been coffered is not a secret anymore. The citizens of Cedar Falls understand how this is working. So we as citizens of Cedar Falls deserve good representation. We will have input either here at the meetings or at the voting booth. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. I know before I go to Jennifer, the new city hall is not being discussed, but a new city public safety building is being discussed.
Thanks
That's
for the
neither here or there.
clarification.
Jennifer, any
Sure.
replies? I know we had a committee meeting about an hour ago that you did a great job on, but might be some details here you might be able to convey.
I know I was trying to kind of jot down too what the various questions were, but just to recap, like you said in the budget presentation tonight, we did talk about the state backfill and the fact that during goal setting, we talked about, do we want to do the conservative budgeting, and if we don't know whether we're going to get the backfill, which, by the way, I should clarify that the backfill is, in that neighborhood of $500,000 or $600,000. That's what the backfill would be to Cedar Falls. So, the council elected that we feel like we would do the conservative thing. We would not plan on it. If it was indeed received, then we would use it for a one-time capital project. I know the question was asked, actually, during the presentation about, do we have that capital project identified? And I had talked about, the budget doesn't specifically say a capital project. It could be any capital project. So, but again, I think that's a more appropriate discussion once we know whether we got the backfill or not. Now, one of the things I know you had already stated, Mayor, that we are talking about, a public safety building has been one of the projects we've been saving up for, not a new city hall. It's been a public safety building. The other thing that I think was a question about, I wasn't sure about the 75% that was saved up. Maybe what that clarification is maybe referring to bonding under state code. There's different types of projects. There's essential and corporate, and there's general corporate purpose projects. For essential corporate purpose projects, which are things like streets, sewers, those type of thing, we can expend those funds without a referendum or a vote by the public. If they're general corporate purpose projects, then anything, if the project is over $700,000, then there would have to be a referendum by the public. So I wanted to clarify the statement. I'm not sure about the 75%, so I just wanted to clarify about the 700,000 piece to that. So I'm not sure I answered all of the questions, but in the budget, that's what we talked about earlier, that what is being presented, the 1.5% on residential, again, right now, that assumes we would not receive the backfill. Some of that, we talk a lot about that shift from residential, or with the rollback going up on residential and down for commercial multi-residential, it just kind of naturally shifts that burden onto residential property. So I'm not sure if I got them all, but.
No, it's fine within our 5 minutes, but as you well know, Joe, Jennifer is available anytime, as is anybody else, if there's those details and things to find out.
Thanks for the clarification. I just want the council to understand we appreciate your dedication to the city of Cedar Falls, but we as taxpayers also want you to know that you're accountable to us.
Thank you again. Mr. Wyckoff, I believe you had your hand up.
Larry Wyckoff, 4241 East Park Road, great city of Cedar Falls again. I saved this for forum. It's concerning Section 1. I didn't talk about it on the 2.0 section because it is about Section 1. First of all, I'd like to know who the backup person is for Denny Bowman. He did an excellent job 2 weeks ago getting my digitals presented up here. I sent him a digital Friday morning before I went to work even, and today I called his number and no answer. I talked to the student in charge, and he didn't know anything about my digital. But basically what I'd like to know is the barricade in front of Famous Dave's is still a barricade. Jeff and Mark know I talked about this last Monday night. Since Section 1 isn't done. The discussion I hear from Famous Dave's is it's not going to be done. There's going to be a barricade there forever and ever. How can that be true with a brand-new road and have a barricade in front of 12 feet of unfinished area? The people of Cedar Falls are not going to put up with the elections coming up to have that maintained in that manner, and people going through Famous Dave's to go from Arby's to get to the Hong Kong place, for instance. I could not believe the frustration at Famous Dave's, the management that they are experiencing, and just watching people, all the near misses. I wish we could ticket people for the near misses, but we can't do that. So I'd just like to know what the problem is or what the schedule is for finishing that 12 feet of unfinished road. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You know, while you're there, Larry, did you have an item to put on display?
I did. I sent it to
Jeremy, and he does
Denny,
a great job.
but I only had one phone number, and
Yeah, no, and that's, they're remodeling the Channel 15
yeah,
area,
I
so
noticed
Jeremy-
that.
But call me or call city clerk. We're happy to put those things up, as you
all
well
right.
know.
But everybody knows, you know, what I'm talking about, the barricade on the access road that, you know, it needs to be finished. Because Famous Dave's, I didn't come here tonight because they told me to, you know, solicit for them. This is out of my own doing. And I'm not getting a free meal out of it. So I'm just here to try to help Cedar Falls look better.
Thank you, Larry. Any comments by staff? Do we know that original Phase 1, not necessarily Phase 1, that area in front of Famous Dave's?
The frontage road that used to connect to Holiday, I guess would be that area, was disconnected for safety purposes, being too close to the intersection. So that frontage road does dead end, if you will, at that point. A barricade was put up over the winter here when it seemed that people weren't quite used to the traffic pattern or understood that that ended, and we had, I think, at least one instance of somebody who tried to drive over that. So we wanted to put that barricade up, at least temporarily here, to call attention to that it's no longer a through street. I don't believe our intent is to keep that barricade up for an extended period of time. It's just understanding the shift in the traffic pattern and understanding that that road, the frontage road, will no longer connect right there next to the intersection for safety purposes.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Any further public comments from folks? Hearing and seeing none, we'll now adjourn to executive session. Thank you.